Logo bugs, video animations, overlays, lower thirds. What are all these cool video assets that can be done? Today, we're going to talk all about the do's and don'ts of branding your videos with Bradley Vincent. So join us, everyone, on the Creator Tips, Tools, and Tales live show. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Creator Tips, Tools, and Tales live show. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're tuning in from. My name is Fanny Dunnigan, and I am the host of the show, where every other week I bring to you content creators from across different industries, across different levels, to have them share with you their tips, tools, as well as tales and stories, so that you can elevate your brand, elevate your content creation journey, and have fun while doing it. So thank you for tuning in. Be sure to introduce yourself in the comments and let people know where you're tuning in from, what you do. Introduce yourself. Use this opportunity to meet other people in the community, and I challenge you to connect with at least 3 new people today. We have a really, really supportive and vibrant community, and it's always so much fun watching everybody interact with each other and meeting folks for the first time. So use this as a networking opportunity as well. So let's see who's joined us here. I see Diana from Dallas, Learning and Development Coach. Awesome. Welcome, Diana. So glad you could join us. I see Luke Frey from Tulsa. Welcome, Luke. So glad you could join us. And some of our regulars, Patty from Poetry, Texas. Hey, Patty. And Yolanda from Frisco. These are longtime supporters and amazing people. So make sure you connect with all of them as well. So again, introduce yourself. use this opportunity to network and let people know where you're tuning in from. Okay, so let's get to it. I want to introduce to you all, actually, before I do that, normally we have Ann Small, who's our community manager, but unfortunately she had a bit of a dental emergency, so she's at the dentist right now addressing that, and she broke one of her tooth, unfortunately, so she won't be able to join us, but she's still streaming. So if you're coming in through Ann Small's feed, she is our community manager, and she'll come back after her appointment and surgery to address all those comments that are in her feed. And but definitely continue to stay tuned. And in the meantime, please join me in welcoming Rebecca Pulford, who handles all the live show coordination. Hey, Rebecca, how are you?
Hi, it's weird to be in front when I'm usually behind the camera.
Yes, Rebecca is usually taking care of all the logistics behind the scenes, but today she'll make sure that you guys in the comments are taken care of as our community manager. So thank you for doing that, Rebecca.
Yes, and I'm going to be on the lookout for best comment because there is a giveaway for whoever has either the best question or comment. So make sure you're popping those into the comment section.
Absolutely. Make sure you ask your questions of our guests. Here is a quick look at what you'll get for the best comment and question, a cool tripod. So, and make sure you connect with Rebecca as well. So thanks, Rebecca. We'll see you later on in the show. Okay, so make sure you connect with Rebecca. And now it's time for my content tip of the week. So this week, I thought I would talk about elevating your event posts. And so what do I mean by that? Right now, I'm getting so many pings for different conferences and networking events. There's just a lot going on right now. It's springtime in Dallas-Fort Worth area, and there's just tons of events. So I thought I would do a content tip around how to elevate your event posts and your event content. And as I was mentioning, it's conference season, tons of events going on. And one of the things, several tips actually, that you could do when you go to these conferences or networking events is here are some photo and video ideas you could do at these events. Okay, so definitely take photos or videos, or like you could hold your phone and pan across the event as well of exhibits and booths. Let people see kind of like the behind the scenes looks, as well as the presentations that you attend, and take photos of an influential speaker that motivated you or inspired you, as well as other people you meet at the event or the conference, interesting people that you networked with and you connected with and you shared a good story with. All these are great photos and videos that you can take at conferences and events. And from there, when you write up your posts, be sure to include these kind of details. Things like the event name, obviously, as well as the location. Right. So here's a quick example. It's a little small, but like last year, I had to go to Paris for an event to present on marketing and employee advocacy, and taking those kind of photos and sharing with people what you did if you were a speaker, as well as what you learned. Those are great things. And then if you're doing booth setups or exhibit setups, do behind the scenes kind of photos. Those give people a glimpse into what's happening. And those event kind of posts always do really well for me. So I suggest that you guys also do that as well. And I think that will drive even more attention to your profiles. And then name the people that you meet and tag them, right? Do it respectfully, obviously. Don't like do those massive tag kind of posts, but key people that you meet, name them, tag them, people that you take photos with, highlight them, highlight the speakers. All those kind of posts also do really well. And then this last tip is something that a lot of people don't do. But if you do it, it's going to elevate your posts. And as well, you're going to create extra value for your audience. And that is to list your key takeaways from that event. Right? Don't just post the photos and then leave it. Jot down 3 things you learned from the speaker, 5 takeaways you got from the event, or 5 interesting people that you met, and then introduce them and tell other people in your audience what you learned from them. And that's where you can create extra value for your audience, right? And that's kind of the special sauce, right? It's all about creating value for your audience and giving them extra insights. So I went to a conference recently and I was like 6 leadership tips that I got from the speaker, the keynote speaker. And there was once where I got to meet Simon Sinek and I was like 5 things that I learned from Simon Sinek at this conference. And so that way, even though your audience may not have been able to go to the event, at least they get to learn from you and learn some key takeaways and tips from you. Okay, so that's my content tip of the week. And over the years, I hope you've found a lot of value from my content tips. And I'd like to ask for a favor in return. If you could do me a favor and scan that QR code, it's a link to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to get some more subscribers to my YouTube channel. I load so many of my content tips in there, as well as all these live shows. So you can watch the replays as well as get content tips. So if you could do me a favor, scan that QR code and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Corporate Creators, I'd really, really appreciate it. So thank you, everyone. That was my content tip of the week. And now let's get to the star of our show, our guests. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Bradley Vinson. Bradley, how are you?
I am doing awesome today, Fanny. How are you doing?
I am so excited for our show. It is going to be so much fun. It's like a show and tell.
Yeah, it should be fun. It should be fun.
Do people call you Bradley or Brad?
Both.
Both. Okay.
I think if my mom was watching, she would prefer you call me Bradley, but Brad is okay.
Okay. I don't want to sound like your mom or anyone's mom except my own kids. Awesome. Well, let me read people your bio here because you've really been doing this for quite a while. Bradley has been in the design world since the early 90s, but recently combined his love for teaching with his design and multimedia production skills to create Bradley Teaches, which is his YouTube channel. He helps content creators move from playful to professional by showing them how to make graphics, animations, and branding elements using free and low-cost software like Apple Keynote, Canva, and other web-based software. So if you are not subscribed to his channel, Bradley Teaches, make sure you do that. Lots of content. And that's kind of, we met at Video Marketing World conference.
We did. Yeah.
And since then, I've checked out your channel and I was like, oh my God, our audience needs to see all this cool stuff you're doing. But dive a little bit deeper into how you got into all this, right? Like why content, why graphics?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I mean, I think the artistic vibe runs in my family. My grandfather was an artist and wood carver and things like that. And I always had, the little best dog house for Fido. And we had to draw those little houses when we were little kids, But in college, when I was getting my bachelor's degree in graphic design, print graphic design, which is most of the stuff on paper, about a month before I graduated, my professor walks in and says, hey, there's this thing called the internet. I don't know what it's going to be about, but you guys might want to brush up on it. I hear there's going to be some stuff called web pages and things like that. So you might want to look into that before you graduate, right? As a career choice, or maybe your boss might get you to do something with that. And so that's how I found out about the internet about a month before I graduated. And the internet, as we know it, the commercial internet, was born in roughly 1996. So left college, took my first job as an art director, and my boss bought 50 domain names. And back then it was wild, wild west, right? And you had to have something online within 30 days or you would lose the name. So I had to learn how to build web pages on the fly right then and just get to it. And so that kind of progressed through the years, and I've been doing print and multimedia graphics since then. Everything from broadcast television to, I call it business cards to billboards, but now I have to call it, business cards to videos, right?
Yeah.
But,
you need to find something else that starts with a B.
Right. And COVID hit. We hate to talk about it, but that's kind of where Bradley Teachers was born, actually, right? We were all sent home. We were stuck at the house. People were Zooming and trying to do things online with video. And I was just serving these different live streaming groups, and people were having problems making graphics and making their videos look good. And someone one day just happened to say, I was trying to do this with Keynote, but I can't figure it out. And I said, Keynote, that's for presentations. So I jumped in, started playing with it, figured some things out to make graphics, and just started doing tutorials. And frankly, I think I really have a community-built business. People asked for things. I started creating things. And that's Bradley Teachers was born from that. And I just love helping folks and empowering people. And that's how it happened. I mean, it's a COVID-built business, a community-built business. And I've just been giving people what they want. They wanted help making graphics without all the, 500-page manuals and 50 years to learn how to do it in After Effects. And I use that stuff too. But I figured out how to do it with Keynote and Canva instead. Two free and low-cost software apps where you can do professional-looking graphics. So that's kind of my niche, and love doing it.
And that's what I love about it. Like you make graphics so accessible for people. And then the fact that you listen to your users, you gather their feedback in the comments, and then you create additional videos and ideas, or I'm sure you get a lot of ideas from your community, right? Of what to create and what to teach on.
It's kind of funny. I don't drink beer, but I would say hold my lemonade, right? Because people would say, well, I don't think you can do this with Keynote. And I'm like, hold my lemonade. I'll be right back. And I'll, call it going into the lab, right? And I'll jump in and start digging in and see what I can make Keynote do. A lot of the graphics I've created are from challenges people gave me.
Look at this comment. Bradley is the king of Keynote right there below us.
Appreciate that.
You have a lot of fans in here.
Apparently I do. I appreciate that. I mean, that means a lot to me. That just means that I'm empowering people and helping them out. So I really dig that. But a lot of things I create are based on needs. Somebody said, hey, can I do this? And I'm like, let's see. And sometimes the answer is no, but very rarely is the answer no. It's always I can kind of do that or make that happen. And with Canva also, which is, a little bit different than Keynote. It's not really geared for animation per se, but you can definitely do some nice graphics with Canva also.
And I think that what you said about community-based feedback, right? Like building content, building a community. I think a lot of people pump things out, but then they don't make it a two-way communication. Right. And by you listening to your community, that's key. I think that's the secret sauce. And that's why I love this show too. Like it's the community, you guys out there in the audience make this show, right? All your comments, all your questions. And how many of you, and I'm curious too, right? When we say video graphics, what does that mean to you? Drop that in the comments and let us know. When we say video graphics, what does that mean to you? Write that in the chat, in the comments. And in the meantime, I want to know from you, Bradley, what are examples of video graphics that you're so good at?
I'm going to run through a couple and then we can kind of talk about how they were made. Now, all of these, I think, were made with Keynote. Maybe one or two were made with Canva. But, we have, and I think you might have to drop my lower third that you have on me right now.
Yes. Let me
And then
maximize you there.
Okay.
And then let me just move this chat off for a second. Okay. Go
All
for
right.
it.
So here's a lower third. This was made in Keynote, right? Very simple graphic to do in Keynote, very easy to do. Then we have a logo bug, which is typically a logo. It's called a logo bug in the industry. Then this is a mid-roll call to action. This is something I typically use during my videos. I'll just keep talking over it while it's moving. And it's a pattern interrupter to have people do something just to break up the monotony of the video. Then we have a stinger, which some people use and call a transition screen. Then we have what I call my Bradley bubble. That's the name I gave it personally. When it's just a little small call to action graphic, you can stick on the screen to let people know different things that you do. And finally, we have an overlay. Now, essentially, everything you've seen so far is an overlay because it overlays on top of the video. So a lot of these things are kind of interchangeable. A lower third is not necessarily a graphic with your name in it. A lower third means a graphic that's on the lower third of your screen. So a lot of these things are kind of interchangeable, and I don't want people to kind of get caught up in that per se. But all of these graphics are different things you can use to brand your videos. And essentially, what you want to do when you talk about branding a video, branding to me basically just means ownership. At any given moment, here's a test for you. Any video that you make live or recorded, if anybody takes a 10-second snippet of your video, and if a stranger looked at it that didn't know who you were, would they know whose video that is? And if you can't pass that test, you're not branding. Because branding basically tells everybody who that video belongs to. Now, you see NBC, ABC, CBS, HBO, they all do it. And they do it simply with a logo bug. They just do something like that, right?
Right.
Now, because I teach graphics and do things like that, and I'm usually using full screen stuff, I had to go practical with my graphics. So you see my logo here.
I know, you got it.
Yeah,
I see three of you.
Yeah, I'm my own NASCAR, right? So I make sure you know who my videos belong to. But that's what you have to do. And it's not gaudy. It's not in the way. I'm not screaming, Bradley teaches. I'm just branded. And it's a simple thing. And everybody can do that. It doesn't have to be some special Picasso level graphic. It can just be words in the bottom corner. So that's the basic thing that everybody should do today.
I saw something, somebody mentioned, what is Keynote? So real quick.
Keynote is the
Keynote
presentation app. It's basically Mac's version, the Macintosh Apple version of PowerPoint. That's all it is. And it's free on every Mac computer. And it upgrades automatically, usually. And it has awesome features. And I think everything I've shown you so far was all done in Keynote. So it's not your mom's presentation software anymore, right? You can do some cool things with it.
Does this make me a mom? Does this make me old if I'm still using PowerPoint?
You're kind of harking back to when I said, Bradley, if my mom was watching. I don't know why I said mom again.
It's like you could tell people how old people are by the email address they have.
Yes.
I kid, because I tease my husband. He still has a Hotmail account.
Wow. That's right up there with AOL. I think AOL is still the grandfather of them all. But Hotmail's not that far behind.
So I want to play for people one of your YouTube videos. And for those of you out there, I'm going to play this at double the speed just so that we can kind of get through it quickly on our show. But I'll have Bradley narrate what he's doing and you can see what that's all about. Okay, so let me share this right now.
Now, one thing I wanted to talk about, even as she plays it, is most of these videos are 2 to 3 minutes at regular speed, which shows you that you can make these graphics in less than 3 minutes. I think this first one is talking about lower third overlays.
Video graphic overlays.
Okay,
So we're going to talk
overlays.
all about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically a frame overlay. Now, most of my tutorials on my YouTube channel are done with Keynote, but this in particular can be done with Canva. In a general sense, an overlay or a frame overlay, I use air quotes a lot, sorry about that, is basically a rectangle with a hole cut in it. That's all an overlay is at its basic point. A rectangle, which is your overall size, with a hole cut in it. Now, unfortunately, in Canva, you cannot cut a hole in a graphic. And so I use a helper app whenever I use Canva called Photo P. It's basically Photoshop.
Is that free, Bradley?
It is also free, yes.
Okay. Say that name again.
Cost. Free is usually the main thing with me. It's
Say
called,
that app again.
It's called Photo P, PHOTOPEA. And so that is basically a online version of Photoshop.
And there you go.
Yeah.
Right there.
And so you can do that same kind of thing with Canva.
Cool.
Basically, open up a presentation. I always use presentation size because it's already 16:9. Open up a presentation, use the square element and stretch it out to fill the screen.
Yeah.
Use another square element or a curved edge square element. Draw your rectangle. Make it a loud color so it's easy to select.
Mm-hmm.
Save it as a PNG. Bring that into Photo P. Click on that loud color. Delete it. Resave it as a PNG. You now have an overlay.
Okay.
That easy. Right.
So let's get to some of the questions that I'm seeing here. Diana asks, what is the purpose of an overlay?
Overlays are, well, let me say from the layman's term overlay, that frame. Let's go with that as the overlay that we're talking about. It's more so for aesthetics. And you can actually hide things and disguise things with an overlay. Say, for instance, right now in this layout that you have, you're using Restream.
Yes.
Say, for instance, you wanted it to look a little bit different because right now it's basically two rectangles, right?
Right.
You could do an overlay to sit on top of this where you put yourself in a circle, which is not available in Restream, right? And put me in a hole in the shape of a truck, right? Or the shape of, or put a laptop screen when I look like I'm on a laptop. Those are things you can do with overlays where you can enhance the app you have and not let some of its perceived shortcomings keep you from using certain apps. So I use overlays as cover-ups, right?
Yeah.
Different things like that. So you can create
that one that you just overlaid just now. It's just so that.
Yeah. So this is a real basic overlay.
There you go.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so even this, right? It has two curved edges and two angled edges. Just that little bit of something different versus just a rectangle cut out of a rectangle. And you can do that with an overlay. And there are no live streaming apps that can do two different corner shapes, right?
Yep.
And so I don't care how advanced it is, most of them can't do that. And so you can use overlays to do different things like that. And it's branding, right? You see my little Bradley Teaches logo all over.
There's his logo. Well, speaking of that, we have a question from Patty. What's the difference between a logo bug and an icon?
Nothing. The names. It's just semantics. A logo bug is basically your logo on the screen or something in the bottom right hand corner.
Right. Oh, I see we have a techie in here. It doesn't show who it is on, it just says LinkedIn users. That's a privacy setting, by the way. Whoever you are that asked that question, if you turn your open your privacy settings on LinkedIn, then we can see who you are. But they're asking, are you using Ecamm?
Yes, personally, right now, I am broadcasting through Ecamm into this interview hangout with Ms. Fan. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So I created the Restream link, but then Bradley's coming in through Ecamm and then pairing together.
Yes.
Yeah. Though, just a sidebar, I saw StreamYard does pairing now. Did you hear that
Oh,
announcement?
I did, and they have some other cool features, and I think we'll probably bring some of that up a little bit later when I talk
Yeah.
about brand
Okay.
deals.
Side note.
Yeah,
Yes.
but
Okay.
they have some other cool
Um,
features that are pretty cool too. I keep an eye on when people bring out new stuff for a particular reason, and
Absolutely.
you learn that later. But yeah.
I want to get to this question before we go on. Patty also asked, do you have any concerns about using programs such as Canva in creating images that kind of mimic? Because a lot of times we could pull a template from Canva and just tweak it slightly. And now and then you do still see kind of like similar templates from
Right.
other creators. What are
Now,
your thoughts about that?
awesome question. And I live by the belief that I don't let any application tell me what to do. And what I mean by that, I always start with Sketchpad or Notepad and pen. And I draw out what I want. I think about my animations that I want. Then I open up that app and see if I can make it do it. And that helps me not have stuff that looks like everybody else's, unless I wanted to, right? And so the same thing happens with Canva, Keynote, everything else. It's that telltale blue, purple, right? Or whatever other color that they use in Canva. When you see things like that, start to play with it. Okay, they have their little splash in the right-hand corner. Move it to the middle. Enlarge it. Make it a different color. Change the background color. Don't just open up the app and say, hey, that's a cool template. Let me just type in my text and throw in a picture and save it. Take an extra 3 minutes and do just a little something different to tweak it, because there are definitely tails to every application. And there are definitely tails to every template.
Trails.
Yeah. And so, and I can pick most of them out a mile away. It's like, oh, that's Canva. And that's nothing wrong with Canva. I almost blame that on the user versus Canva. Spend an extra 2 minutes and do something a little different. If it's in a
Change the
rectangle,
colors to our brand colors.
right? Or it was a rectangle picture shape, put yours in a round picture shape. Right. And so just do something a little different.
Tweak it to make it ours, right?
Yeah, you got to tweak it. What can I make this app do versus what is this app trying to give me? Have that mindset, and it makes you think a little bit deeper, spend a little bit more time, and make something unique.
And this is actually, we're getting so many good questions. So I hope you don't mind, Bradley. I want to get to these, like, right to you all in the community. I'm loving these questions. Sheila, and I, if I remember, Sheila comes from a law background, right?
Okay.
Sheila, correct me if I'm wrong. And so she's talking about branding as ownership, right? Have you ever encountered misappropriation of branding? Someone using your content or copying parts of it? How do you protect your brand?
Okay. This is kind of a two-tiered answer. In the beginning, I didn't care because I wanted my stuff to get out in front of as many people as possible. Now, sometimes people will use my content and it's not for ulterior motives or to rob me or say it's theirs, right? Because I'm branding, and it's pretty hard to crop this video down enough to cut out all my branding to rebrand it for somebody else, right? So you try to make it difficult for them at that level. But then what is the usage of it, right? Because if a brand is paying me to do something for them, obviously they have usage of it. If someone's sharing my video, obviously I want them to do that. If somebody's using my video and then trying to resell it, there's the problem. And so I just try to stay up on it. And when you build a community, they're going to look out for you.
Yes.
Even when there's been other pseudo Bradley teachers kind of people that pop up and teach Keynote or whatever else, they get like confrontation. It's like, hey, there's enough Keynote.
Your community stands up for you.
Yeah, it's kind of like just a different flavor, right? I mean, because I'm not the only guy that ever used Keynote. And if you like the flavor of how I teach it, thank you for that. If you like somebody else's flavor, there's a big enough pie for everybody to get a piece. And so I love that I've inspired other people to start trying to teach Keynote, and nobody's my competitor. I don't see it that way. Yeah, but as far as content, I'm not a big enough brand where they made me lose $1 million because they used my video, and I'm still like a small fish in a gigantic pond. But I would think it'd be no different than if somebody tried to steal AT&T's information, right?
Yeah.
You just want to be protected in the general sense. But to me, when you don't brand, you're basically just giving away your content anyway. So at least have something that makes it difficult for them to say it belongs to them versus you at minimum, right? So start with that and then kind of do that kind of thing.
We have also this is a good question, Jermaine. Can we use any of those assets that you mentioned for Zoom and team calls? Have you ever done that?
Not natively, but if you use, for instance, Restream, Streamyard, other apps like that have a virtual camera option, you can go into Zoom with that as a camera. And then everything you can do in that app will now show up in Zoom. Right. So whenever I do a Zoom, I never do that Zoom with me in the little corner and my screen share. I just come in as I am right now with Ecamm and make everything happen in Ecamm and show it through Zoom. Because even when I do presentations, I don't do a presentation with me on the side. I integrate myself into the presentation. I build my presentations where a video window that fits inside the design, where it doesn't look like it's pasted on. So all those things mean something to me aesthetically. I just don't have a rectangle. It's always like, okay, how do I fit in there? How do I make myself different? How do I empower people to like, hey, I got to do what he's doing. Right. What's new? So.
And real quick, I just want to address this, from Catherine, PC version of Keynote. It's PowerPoint.
PowerPoint, yes. Now, PowerPoint can't do a lot of the stuff that Keynote can. So that's why I don't mention it. I kind of do Keynote for Mac people, Canva for everybody.
Got it.
I never really use PowerPoint because PowerPoint is honestly tedious and it can't do a lot of the things that Keynote can. It makes it difficult for me to, I'm willing to do it, right? Jump in the lab and play with it. But I don't want everybody to have to go through 20 steps to do something that Keynote can do in one step.
Well, speaking of Keynote, I want to show people another one of your videos. This is the countdown timer. And again, I'm going to speed it up just so that we can do it quickly. And then if you could just narrate it for us, that would be.
Now, this was a popular video, and this one could probably only, well, nothing is an only thing, but this is not a Canva style animation unless Canva will not allow you to save a video animation with a transparent background. Keynote will. So you can do different animations in Canva, but it has to be a full screen animation. So this could be done something like this in Canva, when you draw a circle and have it do different things. But this is a very simple animation that I might have saw something like this somewhere else that someone had from not Final Cut Pro, After Effects. And I'm like, I can do something like that with Keynote. And it's basically a chasing circle animation. So I just drew a line, have two different color lines within each other, as you see there.
Love that.
And it looks like it's kind of erasing itself.
Yeah.
So as you see here, as the clock is ticking down from 3 minutes, I'm actually saving the file with still 1 minute left in a 3-minute video. Now it's sped up now, but this was actual speed, not sped up. This took me 3 minutes to do this overlay. Now the timer part with the clock in it was added in Ecamm, because that's one thing that Keynote does not have right now is a countdown clock that you can export. I know how to make one, but there's not a defaulted countdown clock that you can export.
Awesome. And I saw, I think, Patty, you had a question as to where does Bradley teach? He teaches on YouTube. And his YouTube channel, Bradley Teaches.
Yes.
Bradley so easy to remember.
Everything is Bradley Teaches. My website is Bradley Teaches. Tons of tutorials there. And I talk about other software there too. But at its core, it's probably about 70% Keynote right now, 25% Canva, and 5% other stuff. But I'm going to kind of catch up that Canva to Keynote ratio. And because I know a lot more people use Canva now too.
So let's get to some tactics,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we talked about your favorite design tools, Canva, Keynote, all that. But tell us some don'ts of branding your videos. What are people doing wrong when it comes to branding their videos?
The first thing they're doing wrong, the first don't, is that they don't brand at all. That's the first don't. But
Yep.
those who are, let's go to those who are. The
Mhm.
don'ts that they're doing, they're overcomplicating it.
Mm.
And you know, we're talking a lot about graphics here, and yes, graphics are cool and things like that. But frankly, the most important content going on here today is right here. And it's the same in your window.
Yeah.
It's what I'm delivering to you verbally, and you're
Mhm.
looking in my eyes, listening to me, right?
100%.
So they're not using their graphics to enhance or complement their video. They're overdoing it.
Mm.
Stuff jumping all over the place and things like that.
Mhm.
People can't concentrate on the content.
I've seen some really spastic videos. Yes.
And another thing that I run into with people, colors.
Mm.
Now, people get hung up on, well, my brand colors are PMS, blah, 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 green, or hexadecimal code, blah, 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 orange, or whatever else it is. The two colors that are most contrasting that you can use are black and white.
Mm.
Now, if you can control your background, so right now, I know how my studio setup is going to look every time I come in here. I control every light. I got a blackout screen behind me. No outside lights coming in. All the other lights are off. That blue gel light, I can change the colors of. I know what I'm going to look like every time.
Right.
So I know
consistency,
right?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I can put a yellow logo right around here because I know that corner is going to be dark all the time. I could put whatever color there. But what we tend to find is people are stuck on colors, and then I move in front of it and I have brown skin on orange or whatever else, and they can't see it.
Right.
At minimum, black or white. Then think about brand colors. Now, here's the thing too. When I work, and I still work in print design, if I printed something blue and it's in a magazine, it's going to look the same to everybody, unless they're colorblind or however they see tones. Dependent on color calibration of everybody's monitor, even the orange and purple that Fanny is using right now is probably different for two people in the same office right now. So why get hung up on that?
Yeah.
Right? Use your graphics to enhance what you're doing. Don't let them overtake what you're doing. So that's a big don't that I don't want people to do anymore. Simplify, contrast, enhance. Another thing that people do too much, and I work a lot with churches and things like that. And one of the jobs that I had many years ago was called image magnification, which is exactly what it sounds like. I make the image bigger on a screen at church. Image magnification. And so the whole job was put the preacher on the screen big. If the preacher was ever the same size as he was in real life, why have a screen? Same thing applies for text. So whenever you're putting text on the screen, always go bigger than you think is comfortable, because you never know who's watching your video on a phone. And we go with big blocks of text, and it looks great on your 50-inch monitor. And then I look at your video on my phone and I can't read it. Always go bigger than comfortable. Also, stop using serif fonts. Stop doing it. Serif fonts mean with feet.
Like the little curls at the end of the letter. Yeah.
Sans serif, no feet. There's a reason LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all those social media sites exclusively use sans serif fonts.
Yeah.
There's a reason.
No feet, no curls
Right.
on your fonts.
They're easier to read at small sizes. You want people to be able to read your text. I would tell people, text is meant to be read, not R-E-D, R-E-A-D. If you put it on the screen, it's meant to be read. So make it legible.
And that's why one of the, I guess, most famous, most common fonts for logos is Helvetica.
Right. Well, and that's people dragging print world design into video world. And in the print world, Palatino, Times New Roman, all those fonts like that, Garamond, are great for books. Because I don't know why these look good on paper and they're easy to read. That does not translate to video. And bolding it, I'm jumping. I see a question. Yeah, bolding it is good too. Yes. You can bold it, you can italicize, but those frilly fonts and stuff. Now, if you're gonna go frilly, go big. Make it a logo font, make it half the size of the screen, that kind of stuff. Sans serif can run smaller, but don't go too small. You want it legible.
Okay. So we covered the don'ts. And I think you also answered one of the questions that I saw about, where was it? It was, should they go simple? Is simple better than complicated? And I think you answered that.
Simple is always better than complicated because you're enhancing. Unless you are a video graphics entertainment channel, where that's what you're about and how great video graphics are, and let's see how much stuff we can make jump across the screen. The average video doesn't need all that stuff.
Right.
Use it to enhance. I'm talking about video graphics right now, and here are the 5 points.
Yeah,
that's a great spot for a graphic with your 5 points.
Right. I do like fly-in text, right? Yeah. Especially if I'm listing something, it's like number 1,
right.
number 2.
Like, the movement catches their eye, so that's good, right? But then the cool thing about it is that it makes your video screen capturable, a word I made up. And now you have your video as a social media graphic that people are sharing.
Yeah.
Because the points are in your video that they screen capture. You can even say, hey, make sure you take a screen capture of this. Go full screen graphic, bullet points, brand it.
Yes.
So now when they screen capture it, your logo bug is there, your name is there, the top 5 points. You're basically making a little ad. They screen capture it, now it spreads out, right?
And that kind of ties in, I mean, as far as the do's of branding your videos, we talked about quite a few do's. Anything else that you want to highlight to people? I
would say be consistent because ransom notes are ransom notes for a reason. Because
what do you mean? What do you mean ransom notes?
Ransom notes are because the person wants to be anonymous. They don't handwrite it. They don't,
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah. It's like all these different mixed up fonts and colors.
Right.
Because they don't want you to know who wrote that ransom note. That's not your video. Consistency matters, right? My brand colors are blue, black, white, and I have a yellow goldish accent, right? But my logos, I want to do this real quick. I know this doesn't really match what I'm saying, but for logos, I'm gonna give you guys a quick tip for a logo.
Okay.
If your logo does not work in black and white, adding color is not going to help it.
Got it. Yes.
Simple, bold, iconic.
Simple, bold, iconic.
Adding color only enhances. If your logo will not work in black and white, adding color ain't going to help it. So stop designing your logos with color in mind initially. Design your logos and all your graphics.
Start with simple.
Yes. Aesthetic, bold, iconic.
Just like the logo on your shirt, right? It works in black and white. Yeah.
Right. And I'm going to let you guys in on a secret. I wear glasses in real life, but I'm sitting so close to my computer right now, I don't need glasses. But to stay on brand, because somebody questioned me, they said, "Where are your glasses?" I wear glasses to stay on brand because
Yeah.
I'm my logo, right? And so it's those little things, right? Because I could sit here without my glasses, but they're like, your guy on the wall has glasses. Where are your glasses?
Right.
So I bought some frames, popped the lenses out so I can stay on brand, shirt, background, me. I stay on brand at all times. It's those little things.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of elements, but for those that might be just getting started, right? People that are just getting started or they want to consolidate. What would you say are kind of like the 5 essential graphics that every creator should have, whether it's videos, live shows, whatever it is?
Number one, a logo bug. It's the simplest graphic and it creates the most impact instantly. Logo bug. All the rest of these are cool to have. But logo bug, branded overlay, a logo intro, short, 5 seconds-ish, a call to action or kind of a pattern interrupter, like that call to action that I showed you earlier, something like that, transition graphic. And then you want to kind of have a lower third that can either have a call to action in it, subscribe, like, share, that kind of thing, or who you are when you first come on screen. I'm Bradley Teaches, the video graphics coach, right? And so those are kind of the essential graphics, but that logo bug, everybody can do that today. Even if you just go Canva, type out your name in white over a black background and export it as a PNG file. That's good enough. Just look at HBO. HBO, just 3 letters,
Simple.
bold, impact font.
Works in black, works in white. Yep.
Make a black one and a white one. Yeah, make a black version and a white version. And then you're good to go.
I want to squeeze in one more video of yours real quick, because this one, I think everything should have lower thirds, even like Restream, Streamyard, all these things that fly in, right? They are a lower third, and you have a great quick video to demonstrate that. So let me pull that up real quick here.
Now, this is another Keynote video, and it's going to be animated. But what you see here is a basic lower third. And I want to tell you how you can do this in Canva.
Bradley Teaches. I know you're wondering, can you make
it'll be static, but go to the elements folder in Canva and get the square. Make sure you pick the one that has the 6 tick boxes on it so you can stretch it out, make it a rectangle and things like that. And basically you just build a lower third. I call it like building with Lego. Make a rectangle for your name, make a rectangle for your title, use your brand colors, bold fonts, or have the font bold in one area and not bold or italic in the other. Save it as a PNG file, drop it on the bottom right-hand or left-hand side, and you have a lower third. It's as simple as that. These are just rectangles with text in them. Now, as far as the text size, I always want to go in the 60 or 70 point range for most fonts, for your name, for that title area, things like that. Go in the 40s and 50s. That's going to still give you a nice big bold size that works on mobile. And so that's essentially it. Now this one is animated, so it's going to take most of the 3 minutes, but you can do a static one. And in Streamyard, Restream apps like that, you can just eyeball it on and off as your graphic. Now, one thing you want to remember with this is that even the empty pixels are pixels. So you're going to have a 16 by 9 rectangle, even though most of it is empty. So you want to work on your placement and make sure it's in the proper place when you use it. And I actually have a secret about that too. I actually call it the secret weapon graphic.
That's creative.
I look at myself on screen like you see me right here now. This is how I'm usually in my setup. And I'll do a screen capture of me on screen. I bring that into Canva, put it in the background, and draw my graphics on top of myself.
Then you can position, right?
Now you know exactly where everything goes. You know if the
Yes.
color contrast is right, all those kind of things. You don't have to do a lot of back and forth. Now I just delete the picture of me off of it, export the PNG, and I have graphics, and I know exactly where they're going to be placed at.
Got it. Now, there's a question here about Adobe Express. Have you ever used Adobe Express?
I have, and I plan on making some tutorials for it too. Adobe Express is pretty much Adobe's version of Canva. It's the Canva competitor. It has some good features, not as intuitive as Canva, I must admit, but I do like the app for what it provides. I mean, it's Adobe. It's the big boys, right? And that's kind of my staple that I use personally. You know, Illustrator, Photoshop, all that stuff. I know all those things, but I want to show people how to use the simpler applications.
I want to get to a question that you and I talked about, right? Which is, I think a lot of people, as they create content, one of the milestones that you hope to get is a brand deal, right? Tell us about, I really like your story about your first brand deal. Tell people about that and how you got it.
Wow, it was kind of crazy. So, you know, as I said, I have a community-built business. And once people started asking for tutorials, I said, I need to move these things somewhere. So I put them on a YouTube channel. And before I even had 100 subscribers, a brand came calling. And they said, hey, we like what you're doing, showing people how to use these tutorials with other people's apps. Would you like to do that for us? And I'm like, okay, what's a brand deal? And so I did some research on it to try to figure out what to charge them and all that kind of stuff like that. And it worked out awesome. And what was so cool about it is that, because I'm a teacher, and it was cool that software companies are noticing that. And because I want to create power users. I want people to be able to use whatever software that is better. And I'm so happy that a brand noticed that, and they were my first kind of brand deal. And then after that, they kind of start coming in pretty regular after that. And I worked for several of the different streaming apps. Won't name all of them, but I work with several of the different streaming apps. I work with some graphics companies and software companies so far, giving their videos a Bradley teacher spin and helping people use the software better.
And it just goes to show, Bradley, like, because we have this assumption or this notion that we need thousands, millions of subscribers and all that, and that's just not true.
Yeah, I'm considered a nano or even smaller than nano influencer. But I mean, like I said, I had my first brand deal with under 100 subscribers. And if you're creating content that helps people and there's a space for it, the brands will come. The brands will come. They're looking for you. They're looking for people that's going to help them not have a long help desk email list, right? In my case, because that's kind of my claim to fame, right? It's like, okay, let's eliminate a lot of these help desk kind of questions with simple to use tutorials where people can learn on their own.
And I think the secret there is also your community's very engaged.
Yes.
Right? Like I saw, I can't even pull up all of them, but some of them are like, okay, subscribe. They subscribe to your channel, right? And so and then there's people here that already know you and they are already subscribers and they're still watching. So they're a very engaged community.
And I've said all this stuff before. That's what's so awesome. I mean, it's like some people that are the habitual, come watch me, come hang out with me. And I love them. But it's like,
love you all.
It's like, how many times can I tell you how to cut a hole in a rectangle? But they come back all the time and I love it. And, you know, we sit and I answer their questions. We have a good time and we talk about things and they talk about their graphics and we kind of go back and forth and I give them a little tough love here and there. And we just kind of work things out.
I got a shout out to one of my video editors, Daryl Stevens. He has a YouTube channel called Video Like a Dad.
There's always hope. There's always hope.
Yes, you can get a brand deal, Daryl.
Yes.
Maybe from some dad jeans.
and if you have a committed community, businesses want access to that community. Now, I was definitely blessed that the first several brand deals I've had, they came to me. I know that's not normal.
Mm.
But if you have a committed community that a business can bless or empower or give something that's going to help them, reach out to that brand. And it's like, hey, I have 500 committed people that if I say XYZ is going to do this for them, they're going to jump in. A lot of people can't say that. Think of it that way versus I don't have 10,000 followers.
I'm sure we converted a few Keynote people here
Right.
today from everything you've taught and shared.
If you have a Mac, use Keynote. And sometimes
I feel like I need to use Keynote more now.
I've had people buy Macs because of things I'm teaching. And it's like, no, I got to use Keynote now. Like, get the cheapest Mac and let's rock and roll. Let's make it happen. You know.
Final question, Bradley. How do you stay creative? Like, how do you continue to be inspired? I mean, a lot of times you create content and you teach and all that, but like, where do you get ideas from?
I watch television, I watch movies, and I kind of alluded to it earlier. You know, I have the Hold My Lemonade Challenge. That was actually a series for a little while. I called it the Hold My Lemonade Challenge. Try to stomp Bradley, try to find something that I can't do or something close. I mean, there's obviously things Keynote can't do, but, but I can make something like that. Yeah, but a lot of things is just, I watch the Game Show Network because they have cool graphics and lower thirds and animations. And it's like, I just watch different things and I always have my phone with me. And so if I see a commercial with a cool kind of something, I'll rewind it and record the commercial. Yeah. Then I come back and sit down, play it several times, see if I can make Keynote do that. If I see a cool lower third on the news, I record it. I take a picture of something I saw on the Game Show Network or a movie intro.
Oh, and so I love watching movies for ideas. Yeah.
So it's all the, well, I don't record it anymore now because we cut the cord. Yeah, but but that's what I do. It's like I just sit with my phone and if something intrigues me, I start recording. A lot of talk shows have great lower thirds. Game Show Network, ESPN. Speaking of which, that's one of my claim to fame is that I recreated the graphics and animations from Pardon the Interruption. I'm not sure if you guys are ESPN folks and stuff like that, but that was one of my first big things that I did that I think really got the community behind me and started asking me to do more stuff for them. One person in one of the groups said, hey, I have a talk show and can you do something like the Pardon the Interruption graphics? Hey, hold my lemonade, and a couple of days later, I figured it out and we made it happen.
Show us.
Okay.
Show and tell. Show us.
All right, let's see. Let me go over here and I'm going to open up my Keynote. And let me go here to my demo screen. So this is, if you watch the Pardon the Interruption show, you know that as they talk through the show, they have a little timer here in the corner, as you see here. And then they go to different points throughout the presentation. Oh, let me go over here to my Keynote. There we go. And as the different points go by, you also notice the picture changing. I have a logo space here at the bottom. Now, this version, I didn't put it in, but also the text at the bottom in the orange bar would change as I went through each point. And so I did all of this in Keynote. And as you see right now, I'm manually flipping these. I have a version also that would automatically change, but that's another feature of Keynote. They have a play slideshow in window instead of playing a slideshow that takes over your whole screen. And that opened up a whole new avenue for me. Yeah. Because now I can do dynamic presentations, add myself to them, and do all these animations and things and flip the slides manually. That was like a, yeah. That was like a
when you were doing that just now, Bradley, it reminded me of Family Feud. You know, when like the answer comes on and it just kind of flips.
And I actually
that's my challenge to you, Bradley.
Oh, I can do that. I can do that easy. Yeah.
Do the Family Feud, like flip the screen answer thing.
I'll definitely do that. And I've made some other
I'll
game
hold your
shows too.
lemonade.
Yeah. And actually, someone asked, "Do I have a?" Yes, I do have a template for that. I have a Gumroad store and all those kind of things. But reach out to me, DM me,
Yes.
or
So
drop by my
Bradley, tell
website.
people how to connect with you, and you have some offers for
Yeah.
our audience.
Now, the easiest way to connect with me is through my YouTube channel, obviously Bradley Teaches, or my website, bradleyteaches.com. And right now on the homepage of that website, I have two offers. One is a graphics audit. So say you already have your graphics, but you're not confident in them and things like that. You might need a little tweaking, want a professional to take a look at them. I do graphics audits. And then on top of that, I also do video graphics branding packages. So both of those are right now on my website. I also have a Gumroad store that's basically, hey, I like that you did that. Can I just buy it from you, right? Which is a Keynote template. And that's on Gumroad. So that's bradleyteaches.com/store. So that's not directly linked from my homepage, but I do have a store also.
/store.
Yep.
Type it in.
So that's basically bradleyteaches.com/store. And you see there Keynote templates for everything.
Look
Overlays,
at that.
animations, lower
Little
thirds.
storefront.
Yeah. And so all that stuff is there. Overlay
Awesome.
packages, lower third packages, countdown timers, Canva overlays,
Oh my goodness.
default overlay designs for different.
It's a
blocks
candy
in the-
store for
It's a
creators.
candy store. And everything there is priced affordably, good to go. Not trying to break the bank, trying to empower you guys to do some cool stuff. So definitely go there and check that out. But yeah, I just want to empower you guys. It's like, so drop on my YouTube channel. Let me teach you how to do it. If you don't want to learn how to do it or run into some hitches,
Yes.
you can go buy it. If you want me just to make
Everybody.
it for you, that's an option too. So
Bradley Teaches. So subscribe to Bradley Teaches YouTube channel. Subscribe to my Corporate Creators YouTube channel, and you're set.
yes, good to go.
Real quick, because we want to get to some of our upcoming events, as well as the winner of the best question and comments. We went over, but hey, it's our show. We can go over. I want to tell people just today, this evening, for those of you out there, cocktails and conversations for any marketing professionals out there. And then there is the Innotech Dallas coming up for techies out there. Make sure you check that out. And also anybody interested in AI, because I have a big tech audience. We're going to talk all about the AI dilemma, innovation versus humanity. And then coming up, April 27th, Junaid, Build Your Dream Home Studio. He's going to be my guest. And then May 25th.
Good guy. He's a good guy.
Yes, isn't he? Diana Chan talking about confidence and advocating for ourselves, for sure. And let me bring on Rebecca, who's going to let us know who won for best question and comment, Rebecca.
Oh, so we had a lot of questions and comments today.
I
So
know.
it's hard to pick. But I'm going to go with the best comment because she was commenting, asking questions consistently throughout the entire show. Diana D. Williams, who you may remember from What's the Purpose of an Overlay? She is our winner this time.
Yay, Diana. Awesome. So message me with your mailing address, Diana, and I will send that tripod off to you. So congratulations, Diana.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
That's cool.
Yes. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, Bradley. That was an amazing show. I think everybody's going to be going to your YouTube channel now and watching all your tutorials. And I need an audit from you. So let's definitely stay in touch. Thank you, Rebecca, for all your engagement and community management. And for all of you out there, be sure to continue to shine your light, share your gifts, share your message, and I hope you'll do it through video. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye, y'all.